I'm Marjorie Healy, and welcome to another episode of Behind the White Picket Fence, where life is both messy and beautiful. Today we have Cindy Ryan, who is an intuitive guide, and she is here to share with us all that she offers and all her magic that she does with families and clients. And I can't wait to share her with you. So hi, Cindy, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. I know I've been on your podcast, so I felt it was only fair that you came online.
Yes, thank you.
And I shall tell my listeners that I met Cindy because I was looking for someone for a friend. It was one of those asking for a friend moments, and it turns out I was the friend. I mean, I truly was looking for someone else, but I am so glad I met you. That we have worked together for over a year and we've become quite good friends. And I was so happy for your guidance at a time where I really needed some direction to reconnect to my own self and to be able to make decisions from a place that felt intuitive and not from a fearful place, which it's sometimes hard to tease those apart. But I will be honest. When people ask me about you, I am not great at describing what you do because I know you offer so many different things. And, other than telling people she's pure magic, you have to work with her, she's changed my life, I haven't been great at describing it. So I think a really great place to start today would be if you could just share with our listeners exactly what you do and what services you offer.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And yes, you were just asking a little bit about how I title myself.
Yeah.
And it has evolved over time. And so in the world of coaches and online support, I call myself an intuitive guide. And I'm here to help people really help themselves. And a Reiki master. So I kind of have two hats that I work with people, both the energy stream and intuitive work as well. And what I always say to people is that you have a file at the back of your head. And together I kind of help you pull that file and we open it together with the support of your energy guides that are there always. And I kind of listen to what the kind of like the silent noise. And while we're working in sessions, you might not always realize what I'm picking up because it might be like a kind of a breeze by the side of my ear, or I might just be getting a nudge, or I'll be hearing, tell her this, ask her this. And at the same time, you also are getting nudges and whispers because I've asked your guides to come in. And as soon as you've agreed to work with me, you've accepted that is happening. So in our sessions, you'll be like, oh, I don't even know why I'm wanting to talk about this. And I'll be sitting there going, yes, yes.
I know why.
And I know why. And it's a very vulnerable space. It's what I find with people. And I think you could say the same.
For sure.
You really do have to trust yourself in that space. It's not always pretty, but it does bring you home to yourself.
Yeah, I would say, like, I have a question for you, but I'll say this first. I think that when I first met you, I said to you, "Oh, I am not a believer. Like I'm coming in a skeptic. Like when you tell me I have guides and that there's people who are going to whisper things to me, I might say to you, okay, no, Cindy, this has been lovely.
Yep.
You're a little bit crazy. And,
Yeah.
and now that I've had the opportunity to work with you and to open myself up to, to that magic or to that possibility that I, would have some energy guides in my life. I guess my question to you is, do you find that people, when they come to you, are they like me? Are they nervous? Are they unsure? When you're doing that intuitive guidance piece of your business, we'll talk about Reiki in a second, but when you're doing that one-on-one, going into the filing cabinet, are people skeptical like me? Or do you think, because you said as soon as we call you there's a piece of us that must be willing to open the door to
Yes.
feeling like there's something greater than ourselves out there.
Yes.
But
I
how
always
do most
say,
clients arrive to you?
I say, I want you to be skeptical.
Mm.
I really encourage you to have that skeptic side, because there's a balance between the woo-woo and the human experience, and we ought to live with both of those all the time. And
Right.
so when people are coming to me, I want that honest piece where somebody is going, I don't know, I'm wondering, but I'm open to this place. I live in that too. And I am, after 10, 12 years of doing this work and unpacking and studying with people myself, I trust it, but I also understand where people are going, I don't know. And so when people are going to me like, yeah, I'm totally ready for anything and I'm okay, I want them to also be a little bit skeptic and a little bit hesitant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think I used to say to you, you hear all the time, oh, live in the moment, stay in the moment, stay open to your energy, stay open to,
Mhm.
something greater than yourself and all. And I used to say, okay, well, I still have to pay my bills.
Yes.
I still have to, I still have to be organized, and I still have to, there's certain obligations I have to be having a human experience where,
Yes.
I need to be checking off certain boxes. I can't just not pay my hydro bill this month, and I can't just not have money for groceries. And and I know those are, but even like, I know those are financial examples, but even obligations to family, commitments to relationships, commitments to showing up to my own children, for example. And I think you had a nice saying. I had a funny saying that I actually heard from a friend. It said, like, I still need to collect my nuts for winter. Like, I am a squirrel. If I don't prepare, right?
Yes.
And then I
Yes.
think you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, was 10% of you is grounded in collecting your nuts, so to speak.
I used to have my hands are open to magic. My
Right.
feet are grounded in logic.
Okay, see, I
And
would not
I
have said that well. There, I like it. So say it one more time. So hands open to
my
magic.
hands are always open to magic, but my feet are grounded in logic.
Okay.
And so it's just a way for me to always say, yes, I'm open to it and I'm ready to receive it. But
Right.
I always know, like, my feet are grounded and supported. And I think that the people who come to me are the same or similar. And so it's something that I've always known. I don't really have to go out and search for clients. I
Mhm.
always know that similar people will be arriving to me. And I don't mean that in an ego way. I mean, I attract in similar people to me.
Right.
So I'm very ready for people like yourself who are going to come to me and say, I don't know, Cindy, God, I'm curious, but
Right.
and I love that because
Right.
I've lived the same way. And so it allows me to say, sure, let's open this up together. I am ready for you
See.
to say that to me. That doesn't
Right.
make me feel bad, and it
Right.
doesn't make me feel like you're judging me. We're doing
Right.
this together.
Well, and I think it's sort of, we hear this expression all the time where we're human beings, but we are living we're really spiritual beings having a human experience. This is just one
Mhm.
experience for us. And regardless of, what you believe in, you're right. You're probably going to attract someone who's open to knowing that there is this intuitive side to themselves that they can reconnect with if they're willing to open their hands to that magic,
Yes.
or willing to look for it.
Yes.
But okay, so here's a question for you, because you must get, I find this in my own practice, right? Where I always say to my clients, I need to meet you where you're at.
Mhm.
I cannot, I can't meet you where I would like you to be. I need to come where however you show up. And those are varying degrees, right? Like, I
Yep.
could have a client come in who says to me, sits down right away and says, I know I've showed up for parent coaching, but I recognize this has everything to do with me.
Of course.
And And when I am coming to you, it's because I have to clear my cobwebs so I can show up better for my kids. Then I'm
100%.
going to coach them completely differently. Whereas someone comes up and says, you know, I just don't know what to do with this child. I just need some more tools. And
Yeah.
I know that that's just where they're at. That's all they need from me in that moment. And I'm not going to ask them to clear their cobwebs unless
No.
they want their cobwebs cleared. So for you, because those are two extremes, what are your extremes when people show up for you? Even though I know you attract generally
Mhm.
someone, but what are the extremes, do you think?
I think it's an interesting thing. When I started to work in this field or this kind of work,
Right.
I attracted, because that's all I was ready for, was a female that was going through the same thing that I was going through at that time.
Oh, interesting.
So I was going through a separation. I was going through life at that time, and that was definitely the client that I was attracting in.
Okay.
And so really it was great. It was great for me to understand that work. That was about 12 years ago. So I was like, oh, interesting. I'm only bringing in this type of client.
Okay.
Now, it was probably about 7 years ago. I thought, I think I'm really I've gone through a lot of experiences in my life, and actually I've worked with children and families for 20 years. I've
Right.
done all of these other things. I would like to work with men. I can work with, and so really, suddenly it was like me actually trusting that I was able to work with different people and trust the intuitive skill, because it was quite scary to hold that responsibility,
Right.
opened up that I could work with all different types of people. So just like you're saying, it meant I could work with a teenager and hear them and hear what they were saying, knowing, wow, I don't even know some of the things I'm talking about right now. I don't even know what these apps are. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to hold
You're gonna hold
space
the
with
space.
them. I'm just going to hold space with them. And it's a beautiful opportunity for me to just
Right.
see them and hear them
Well,
and
I
know.
think that saying that is so beautiful because, you know, I even struggle to articulate what it is I do because it's
Mhm.
not a, while it's a service, it's not a set service. It
No,
is really having people show up and you meeting them where they are and then holding that space for them to grow into who they want to be and can be.
yes,
And I often even say that to my clients when your faith in your own situation, and I use the word faith not in a religious context, by the way. I use the word faith and, you know, remembering, and I've said this to you many times,
yeah,
you know, believing in something that you can't, that none of your senses can connect to, right?
exactly.
If I was to define faith, I'd say I can't hear it, I can't see it, I can't touch it, I can't taste it, and I can't smell it, but I just have to believe that this is all going to work out okay. And
Mhm.
in with parents and life and the bumps in the road, you know, your option is to have hope or despair, and or faith or fear. You're kind of, and just holding that faith and that hope on their behalf while they're doing the work is a way to describe what I think we both can do for our clients. But I
Yeah.
think that's a way you might describe it. Am I on the right track, or is there something you'd add to that, or is there a difference?
No, I think it's definitely just waiting to hear what they want to come out with, right?
Mhm.
And waiting and allowing them just to, I say it's a brave space, right? Whatever,
Mhm.
whatever they feel comfortable with, and knowing that journeys could change in the one day to the next, and
100%. Yeah.
whatever is going to arrive, will arrive.
Right.
And energy changes.
It sure does, right? And day to day and sometimes moment to moment. And
Yeah,
you know,
yes,
my goal is to hold it steady, and I will tell you that is an impossible goal. It
yes.
wanes, and I work very hard to, you know, keep it where I want it to be, but I've also worked very hard on forgiving myself when it's, or being soft and kind to myself when it's not where I want it to be. But
Forgiveness is key.
it's huge. I
Forgiveness is
know.
key.
I think, you know, it's funny. There's certain terms that resonate at different times for people at different parts of their lives. Whereas you have heard, you know, self-love, self-forgiveness, all of those terms forever. And then you'll go through something and that term will take on a different meaning or
Mhm.
hold different weight in your life at that moment. And that sort of goes back to what we were saying, where you show up for them where they are,
Yes.
and then allow them the space, like hold that space. I love that term. I'm going to hold that space.
Mhm.
But something else you touched on, and I think I can really resonate and with this, is that you were attracting people that worked with you kind of in the reflection of the time that you were in. And then as your
Yes.
business has grown, you've been able to see, oh, wait, I can actually work in these different fields, even though that can feel scary and
Yes.
uncertain. And
Yes.
I think my business has taken a similar format. And for many years when I started, I really wanted the parent with children under 12. I really wanted the parent of the 3 and 5 year old who are tantruming and,
Right.
you know, are having a hard time, or I always joke, I've had a client call me once, like, my child's helping themselves to frozen waffles from the freezer. Like, help, you know?
Yeah.
Like their precocious 2 and 1/2 year old was just in there. And
Yes.
you know, there's a thousand of those examples. And I get calls about teenagers, and I'd say to them, you know, I know other coaches in the area who have had teenagers and not only have the education, they also have the hands-on experience. And I would
Right.
say refer them. Whereas
Right.
now I'm, you know, I am so open to all of it. And it's so nice hearing you in the same space because, you know, I've even opened it to youth. Forever, my parents would say, you know, will you take my child? And I'm like, no, no, I don't need to work with your child. I need to work with you, and you can,
Yes.
you know, and I still feel strongly that, you know, if I take on a child, I'd like to also work with the parent.
Mhm.
But it's interesting how you open up your practice broadens over time because
It
you
does.
see the impact you can have on
Yes.
a large majority of people, which really your clients, anyone, when you think about it, like
Of course.
as an intuitive guide, anyone could use your help.
Well, it's a funny thing. I mean, we can touch on, we can just go wherever, but I had, okay, so we can have a little bit of my background just so people,
Yeah.
you'd asked about this. So
Yes.
my background is child and youth care. And so that's what my degree is in. I worked with children and families for 17 years.
Right.
In investigation work, and people will often joke like I was called into investigations and how did I just know? Well, I just knew. um, Sort of the intuitive side,
Right.
but definitely that was where I felt comfortable. I worked with so many children that way, and before that was working as a preschool teacher
Okay.
long ago, and managing preschool, so working you know, in family settings, and then kind of worked my way up into government sector this way to, so very comfortable with families. And
Yeah.
then but then on the side had started to grow my business in the background in energy work and in doing intuitive one-to-one sessions. So
Right.
it really kept the two sort of, this is my day job and this is what I do in the evenings, until one day I had eventually left that to grow this and build this business as my own,
Right.
and had not really realized, wow, all that work I had done with children and families and working and supporting families, I actually could build that in to keep working with children and families now. And
Right.
started to do mindfulness programs with young children, but incorporating in the intuitive space. And so when I actually combined them, I realized this is beautiful. I don't need to just forget my 17 years of work and
Right.
training. I just need to just mesh them together. And once I realized there are actually no bounds, it's just bringing it over. It was
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's interesting that you say that because you've had all that experience. Do you think that I often wonder, do you think that experience it was just preparing you all the
Yes.
way along for this role that you're in now?
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel the same. If I look back on my childhood and dreams, because I think one of the things I coach parents to is not interfering in their children's dreams.
Hmm.
Let them dream and inquire about their dreams. We're so quick to be like, well, that might not be reality. Like, I know you want to do that, but we're great dream squashers, actually.
Yes.
Because with our feet in logic, we can be we can be very realistic. Like, well, I don't know if you can make a living like that, or I don't know if that. Yet, I feel like your children's dreams are clues to where they need to put their time, space, and energy as they grow.
Hmm.
And again, while I recognize that they might need to make a living of some sort, but in their dream is the idea of what they're passionate about,
Yes.
what they're excited about. And if I look back on my life, I mean, I taught swimming from a young age. I was
Mhm.
connected also to children and families, and I was actually doing the work indirectly with children and adult. I taught adults to swim and working with them and their fears and the things that they were unsure about. And in a way, I was coaching them back then. I just didn't know it. It just
Yes.
wasn't in the realm of, oh, wait a second, this is what I was supposed to be doing with my time.
Mm.
Right.
Well,
So
there's huge relevance in and studies showing about dreams, right? And daydreaming and the importance of daydreaming and allowing our children to sit in daydreams. So often we will tell our children now to stop daydreaming, right? The
yes.
focus is to release that. And we think there's something wrong when they are daydreaming. So giving them the balance of both is so important.
It's so important. I've always said, to all our teachers listening, I've always said this: if
Mhm.
you catch a child in a classroom daydreaming while they're supposed to be doing a math sheet, for example,
Mhm.
let them finish. Let
Yes.
them come all the way through their daydream. Let them bring themselves back. They will. Don't
Yes.
interrupt. And then ask them what they were daydreaming about.
I know.
Inquire, and then when they're all done, then okay, then they can finish their math sheet. And I know we're in time constraints in classrooms and all of that, but there's so much beauty in a daydream.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're too quick to structure. There's a lot of structure
I
there
know.
everywhere. Okay, so just for the sake of someone being able to work with you, I'm gonna get logical for a second and
Okay,
pull
get
some
feet in
magic. If they
grounded.
want, yeah, I know it sucks. Well, we're gonna get
Oh,
back to magic in just a minute,
fine.
so don't panic. But if they wanted to work with you in this capacity, like a one-on-one intuitive guide, how
Yes.
do you offer that? Because I know, you said I think you had mentioned at one point when we were just chatting off of this podcast, well, I just don't do it one off. So I like to give it, say we need to
Mm.
work together for a certain amount of time, which is fair because it's hard to. I always tell my clients, as much as I believe in magic, I am not a magician and I can only work so quickly. So if you come to me for one session and you go away and you never come back, I I hopefully have had a little bit of an impact and we've created a small amount of change, but I can't do a lot in 60 minutes. So how do you set that up, your one-on-one clients?
It's really what I've said. I've recognized that now with myself. I used to do these one-to-one sessions, or people would come in for a one-to-one reading, and I
Mhm.
would always say like, "Oh, good luck, like best to you," right? Because it's
Right.
like they're tapping in for a session, and then they're going off, and I'm thinking, "Where are you going?" Like, so what I do now is I do have a 3-month intensive program called Dear Soul, and
Okay.
that is run twice a year. So that's where people can tune in to tap into their own guides,
Okay.
and it's a beautiful program where we meet individually. So each person gets individual sessions, so they learn how to meet with their guides, learn how to work with their own guides, etc. And then they have group sessions on practicing how to work with guides together, and doing intuitive work.
Okay.
So I've done that. And then I do packages. So like you and I, so you
Right.
can sign up to do 3 sessions, 5 sessions, or 10 sessions. And the majority of people end up doing 10 packs. And I
Right.
just have a group of people that I work with at a time. So I just have a series of clients that I'm working with individually.
Right.
And they have my devoted time.
So they're a little bit more specific than the Dear Soul. Well,
Yes,
if you're in the Dear Soul 3-month program, it's, you are working, we do get some one-on-one time, but you're also
one-on-one
in
time.
a group.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have my client base who I'm working with individually,
Right.
typically once a week. And
Okay.
I just have them who I'm working with as well. And that's what I'm doing. And then I teach Reiki.
Okay, so let's talk. Okay, well, just before we get into the Reiki, because I have one more
Yes,
question, and I'm not asking this for me. I'm
you're
asking
asking for a friend.
yeah, I'm asking for a friend. Here we go again. Asking for a friend.
Yes.
There's something about asking for a friend that just
I know, I
frees me
love it.
from. Well, I don't know. Just as an aside, and then I
Yes,
promise I'll digress because I do often go on a tangent.
that's good.
But I do like when I say, and I know we say it teasing all the time, I'm asking
Yeah,
for a friend, and I
yes,
use it quite often. And I think it's that free space where you can ask anything you want because you're pretending it's not you. You're not the
yes,
curious person. It's your quote unquote friend
right,
who's curiously asking. But
totally.
but this one, I'm asking for my listeners,
Yes,
and partly as a reminder to myself. But when we
yes,
talk about guides, can you
yes.
explain to everyone? Because, and maybe my interpretation is wrong, but my interpretation of one of my guides is, and it probably is way deeper than mine, but
Mhm.
is someone that I've known who has passed on and is no longer here in the physical realm, that is I'm connected to and is guiding me.
Mhm.
But I'm sure there's
Mhm.
people that I don't know who have passed on that are part of my spiritual team. I like to say that I have a very broad spiritual team because I am not a one guide show. I need a whole host, I need a tribe of
Well,
guides.
I wrote something beautiful, and I don't know if I have it right here on explaining guides. I can read it to you. Do you want me to? It's very short.
Yes, I do want
Okay.
to.
This is what I wrote to how to explain how I interpret guides.
Okay.
Um, and then I'll go into those who have crossed over, those
Okay.
on your ancestral side, those who crossed
Okay,
over.
this is going to be so helpful. I hope I do hear one of my kids upstairs making noise. I hope he doesn't make so much noise that we can't hear
Okay,
him.
I can't hear a thing.
Oh, good. Okay, go for it.
Okay. We are connected to energy all the time. It is with us and within. We do not awaken to spirituality. We come back to our connection to our spiritual self. Imagine yourself, sorry, Hank, I'm going to read this closer. Imagine yourself wearing a human jumpsuit with your name on it. Yet your beautiful soul is much richer beneath that jumpsuit, and it has traveled many lives, and it has worn many human jumpsuits before this current outfit. Since your soul's beginning, there are energy guides who have been with you to support you. Your soul has a purpose. It is written in the blueprints of the skies, and it travels across the ages of time. It is infinite and magnificent. It has no bounds, and it carries you. And with each jumpsuit, oh, and as each jumpsuit is worn, scars are brought to you, lessons are learned, and skills are learned. Within the subconscious of your being lays the details of your purpose, the outline of who you are and what you are meant to discover, the tale you are meant to tell and share with all you meet. With each life, your hand will meet 10,000 to 20,000 other human jumpsuits, all with the same goal, to transfer love. With each life, with each life, you will transfer love, forgiveness, and the idea of human trust.
Mhm. Wow. Frost is a big one.
That's yeah. So I wrote that all. So it's a bit muddled because I didn't edit that. But
Right. Yeah. So what you're
so
saying is with each life our soul has lived, whether we remember or don't remember, we're putting on a new, in a
jumpsuit.
human experience, we got a new jumpsuit.
Yeah.
But in our spiritual experience, we've had multiple jumpsuits.
Multiple jumpsuits. And so those guides are with you. So those guides are not always like a human being. They're energy within
Right.
you. And so every time you come back, they're with you from the very beginning of your soul's existence.
Right.
So right now you're Marjorie, but 3 lifetimes ago you were Mike. And 4
Right.
lifetimes ago you were Joanna. And
Right.
those guides are like, okay, because they just remember the soul within you right now. And
Right.
each time they're like, okay, she's just meant to bring this purpose every single time, every human
Every
suit
human
she's
jumpsuit.
wearing, right?
Right.
And so if you ask up and go, okay, what do I need to, what is it that I'm supposed to be learning right now with each one of these marks, or each one, there's a purpose for what I am meant to be doing and what you're meant to be doing. And they're here guiding you. And the more we slow down and stop controlling what we believe in our human existence and listen to them instead, they will guide us in the truer way.
Right.
Those are those guides. Then you also have, because, and hopefully this doesn't become too deep for your listeners,
No, that's okay.
then you also have these other line in the Marjorie line here with you as well.
Okay.
Those would be friends who've crossed over or relatives that have crossed over. They're also there to support you. So you've got the guides that are with your soul, the deep guides, and then you have the guides that are with you also supporting you.
Right.
So
Okay,
when
so you sort of have two past soul guides and past, people that you know who've passed away guides.
yes,
Thank gosh, because the more guides, the better over here.
yes,
Right? Bring them on. 'Cause some of them might quit with me.
yeah,
They'd be like, okay,
they'll never quit. But I think
I'm teasing.
understanding that clarity can
Right.
honestly help you.
So what about, let me ask you this, and I know we're probably getting too specific, and I want to save a quick 5 minutes here for
Yes.
Reiki, and then
Oh,
we'll wrap up, and we'll have you on again so we can go deep into each of these things, because there's so much here. And I know we're probably, I like to say, pulling some of our listeners right into the deep end on a spiritual level, and they're thinking,
yes.
my feet are way too logical and my hands aren't quite open to this very mystic, or what can feel like a mystic conversation.
It is
But
mystic.
let me ask you this. When you talk about the jumpsuit guides, like the past lives experience, because there's obviously going to be people who don't believe in past,
Don't believe it. Yeah.
or don't feel that, and that's okay
That's
too.
fine.
I'm not asking anyone to not, to change or shift their belief system. But when you talk about those ones, I've always said to you, I feel like I've met people in life who have lived a million lives, and then I meet people who I say, oh, this is their first rodeo, and so, do you think that there's people who are truly in their first jumpsuit, and
100%.
have you met clients who are in their 50th jumpsuit,
100%.
100th jumpsuit?
Yes.
Okay, I was just curious.
It's the same as when I say you can meet somebody and you might be in a coffee shop in France, and you look at somebody in their eyes and they might be 90 and you're like, oh, and you might never meet them again, but you've made a connection where you're like, I know you.
I know you. Yeah.
And it's just that eye connection where you're like, I just feel at peace.
Right.
And there's not like you need to go over and like kiss the 90-year-old, but it's like just a beautiful sense of, whoa.
Right. Yeah.
And something sticks with you where you, and everybody, it's no denying, everybody's had this.
Well, okay,
You walk away and you are still thinking about the 90-year-old's eyes. Like, why
right.
is that person so lovely? And you're
Right.
thinking about
Well,
them
and I
all
think,
day.
well, I think that speaks to one of the things you say, and the problem with this generation is like we need to look up, we need to stay present, we need to keep our eyes wide open, we need to be looking around, because these experiences are here for us and these connections are here for us, but we're so head down.
Yes.
Okay, so before I have to go do my other job, because I have
Yes.
multiple jobs, and
Yes.
one of them as a mom, and I'm going to be called
And
into
you're beautiful at it.
right. I'm going to be called into mom action in T
Yes, in 2 seconds.
4 minutes. Tell us really quickly Reiki, because okay, first of all, as our listeners know, you teach Reiki and you give Reiki. So
Yes.
just explain as beautifully and quickly as you can, what is
Yes.
Reiki?
So Reiki, I discovered it about 7-8 years ago. It is it's a Japanese term. It's life force energy. And so basically you are tapping into higher power energy. And again, it's, if I was to be doing it with you, it's me and you are giving me permission to tap in to higher power energy and connecting from my guide to your guide to give you healing. And
Okay.
the way I explain it, because some people will say that I'm a healer, you are the healer. So if you are asking for Reiki, I am purely the conduit. I am a space, and like we say, we hold space in a session with other people.
100%.
You are the healer, and you are allowing your body to be healed. And with every session, you are just allowing that the healing to be done. I am there as the third party, allowing your guides to work.
Okay. Well, we will probably do a whole other podcast on Reiki, because I think there's a lot there, and
There's so much.
I would like to undo that. But for now, people can reach you how? Give me the website and then we'll sign off.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I will put the link in my bio anyways. But if someone wants Cindy Ryan, how do they get you?
So the best way is you can always look me up at Blissful Intuitive on Instagram, and then www.blissfulintuitive.com. I try to make it intuitive.
I love it. Okay, thank you so much. This has been awesome. I can't wait to do more, because I think we've had so many deep conversations that we can have on this entire subject, and even our time together, which maybe sharing that with our listeners would be helpful, because they'd start to really get a live example of what it can look like for them if they're looking for either Reiki, to learn Reiki, or to have an intuitive guide, and what that experience can be for them.
100%.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, until next time, this is Marjorie Healy and Cindy Ryan talking about all things magic.
Thank you.